They say Labubu is just a toy, a mischievous little character born from the whimsical imagination of Kasing Lung. With its snaggle-toothed grin and oversized eyes, it became a beloved figure in the world of designer toys. Collectors adore it. Children laugh at its oddness. Adults feel nostalgic just looking at it. But what if I told you that Labubu wasn't born from creativity, but from memory? What if Labubu wasn't created, but rediscovered? There was once an interview, now buried, nearly wiped from the internet, where Kasing Lung admitted that Labubu had come to him in dreams. Not just once, repeatedly, a recurring figure that whispered in nonsense syllables, always just out of view. The dreams started when he was a child, and they never really stopped. He laughed it off at the time, said it was probably just a figment of a restless imagination, but that interview is gone now. And so is Kasing Lung. In the early 2000s, Kasing Lung left his home in Hong Kong and traveled to Europe. Publicly, he told friends and fans it was to find artistic inspiration and to immerse himself in folklore. But there were whispers from close colleagues that he was searching for something else, something he'd seen before. He landed in Belgium, a quiet part of the Ardennes region. The forest there is thick, nearly untouched in places. Locals call parts of it, Het Stilte Woud, the Forest of Silence. It's said that in certain areas, birds won't chirp. You walk in, and all you hear is your own breath. Kasing rented a small cabin on the edge of the forest. According to his private journals, which were leaked by a former assistant, he chose that location because he recognized it from his dreams. He wrote, "It's the same place. I remember the smell. The trees don't look older, just more watchful." He stayed for 2 months. Locals say he rarely came into town. But when he did, his face looked different every time, tired, pale, and increasingly paranoid. It was an old woman named Elsa who first spoke to Kasing about Der Lacondijum, the smiling demon, a folkloric creature native to that region of the forest. She told him stories that her grandmother had passed down. A creature the size of a child, with fur like moss and skin like bark. Long fingers, a mouth too wide, and eyes that reflected the moonlight. It never spoke in words, only in echoing laughter. It was not a ghost, she said, not an animal. Something older. In the tailies, it would mimic the voices of children, calling out from the woods. And once you answered back, it knew your voice. Then it starts learning you, Elsa said, piece by piece. It would learn your laugh, your gait, your posture. Over time, it would become an imitation so perfect that not even your family could tell the difference. But the eyes, she warned, they're always too shiny. Kasing was enthralled, but not with fear, with recognition. In a later unpublished sketchbook, now considered lost, Kasing wrote, "Labubu is not a fantasy. It's the thing that has always followed me." When Kasing returned to Hong Kong, something had changed. He began drawing Labubu obsessively, thousands of versions. Each sketch had subtle changes, longer teeth, skinnier limbs, slanted eyes, or fingers too long. Most people thought this was just artistic experimentation. But if you look closely, really closely, you'll notice something disturbing. The earlier versions look more cartoonish. But as time went on, Labubu began to look real, like he was trying to recreate something exactly. Employees at Pop Mart, the toy brand that partnered with Kasing, said he would sometimes stare at a single sketch for hours. One said they walked into his studio and found dozens of Labubu faces pinned to the walls, each with subtle differences in the eyes. "He's trying to capture it perfectly," the employees said, "not design it. Recapture it." Pop Mart exploded with success. Labubu became a flagship character in the Monsters toy line. It was cute, quirky, collectible, but insiders began to notice oddities in production. Certain batches of Labubu figures had variations that weren't approved. Eyes slightly misaligned, mouths just a little too wide. One set had fingers with tiny claws, not part of the original design. A few collectors even claimed the toys moved on their shelves when no one was watching. A popular Reddit thread titled, "Why Did My Labubu Blink?" went viral in 2022 before it was deleted. One post read, "I bought a Labubu with a special forest design. At night, I kept hearing laughter. Light like a child giggling into a pillow. I checked security footage. At exactly 3:33 a.m., the toy turned its head by 2 degrees. I don't know what to do." Factory workers in Shenzhen, where the toys were manufactured, started quitting without explanation. One left a note behind. "It watches from the mold." Pop Mart denied any production issues. But they also introduced tighter security and removed certain unapproved designs from circulation. Collectors now refer to these as the forbidden batches. In 2023, Kasing Lung vanished from public life. No retirement statement, no last post, just silence. Pop Mart continued to release Labubu figures using his old designs, but fans noticed something strange. The signature had changed. It was still Kasing, but the strokes were slightly off, like someone had learned to mimic it. A private investigator, hired by a concerned collector, tried to track him down. His last known location was a train station in Hamburg. He never boarded the train. Weeks later, a street artist in Berlin reported seeing someone who looked like a wax figure of Kasing Lung sitting on a park bench, giggling to himself. When approached, the figure allegedly turned, smiled, and whispered, "Labubu." The artist left the city the next day. Folklore researchers believe that Labubu may be a whim grim, a class of ancient forest entities known across Europe. These beings were said to be tricksters, shapeshifters, and soul eaters. But instead of consuming flesh, they fed on mimicry. They copied and copied until there was nothing left of the original. In other parts of Europe, similar creatures exist. The Chatterling in Austria, a laughing mimic that steals laughter. The Knucklegrin in Norway, a forest dweller that replaces lost children with silent replicas. The Fey Echo in rural Scotland, known to leave giggling footprints around missing person sites. Each of these has one common trait, a wide, impossible grin. Theorists believe that Kasing didn't invent Labubu. He released it. By giving it form, selling it globally, putting it in people's bedrooms, he allowed the entity to spread, not physically, but symbolically, like a totem, a link. Every toy, a tiny invitation. Recent reports have escalated. Parents claim their children now have imaginary friends that look like Labubu, even if they don't own one. Collectors have reported nightmares, walking endlessly through forests, hearing laughter behind trees, and finding shoes neatly placed on the grass. One YouTube creator who covered this theory vanished after uploading a video titled, "Labubu isn't fiction, it's a signal." In the video, he showed slowed-down audio from Pop Mart advertisements. When dropped to 0.25x speed, layered over forest static, the Labubu jingle allegedly forms a voice whispering the phrase, "Let me learn you." That video is now gone. His channel was wiped. There's a terrifying belief among conspiracy circles that Kasing Lung was not simply taken. He was replaced. They say the creature now signs his name, attends secret meetings, designs new toys. If true, it means Labubu has done more than just mimic a man. It has become him. And now it sits in homes around the world, grinning, watching, learning. So next time you see that familiar snaggle-toothed smile, don't laugh. Because if it laughs back, you might already be teaching it who you are. Thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.